welcome to 500 Open Tabs. I'm Hannah Hillam.
And I'm Kaveh Taherian, and we are coming to you with a very special episode, which sounds like someone's dying of something, but that's not what this is.
No, I didn't think that was what it sounded like, but yeah, we'll go for it. Look, we're all dying. But this is a special episode in that we decided, since we get a lot of listener mail, and sometimes we just don't get to some of them because they're either too long or we just don't see them. I don't know.
I see all of them. Some of them are too long. I always it's because, we've mentioned this on the show before where I'm insane and I'm listening and I hate having unread emails. So I will immediately, as soon as someone sends an email, go mention or label it as listener. I can't let it sit. So I have, on some level, I don't always read them fully at that time. Right. I'll go back and read them in a flurry when we're about to record. But
wow, we have a very similar approach that I do, where I'm like, oh no, we got to record in 15 minutes. I have to find one. So,
but it's good. Go ahead.
One reason or another, these emails haven't gotten to be read yet, so we're decided to do a special all listener mail episode.
Well, some of them, here's the thing, some of them, we were just talking about this before we recorded, some of them are great, and we read as many as we can. Some of them are just like a little too long, or they're like we thought we were going to get around to them and then we forget, or like whatever, but
waiting for the right episode to put them in, and
to
then
pair it with
never came.
Listen, we're doing the best we can, just like anybody else, so we thought
I'm not,
we didn't you never try.
Don't speak for me.
That's true. I won't speak for you, but we wanted to just make sure that some of these are great and we wanted to give them a little bit of breathing room too. So some episodes of ours go way too long. So we're like, we got to do this, got through them as fast as possible. So we're like, listen, you know what? This is time for you, the audience, to shine. That's what this episode's about.
While still being about us completely.
Listen, we have to personalize it. Otherwise I can't relate to anything. But yes.
Same. Why do you think all my art is food or objects with faces and feelings? I don't know. Anyway.
Why do you think all of my art is animals that shouldn't be where they're supposed to be?
That shouldn't be. That animals that represent different parts of your psyche? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, I can start. And
let's do it.
We'll get through as many as we can before, I don't know, we end this. We're winging this.
Yeah, we're winging this. And just so the audience knows, it is a little bit of 500 Up in Tabs energy here that I don't quite remember any of these. And so some of these are just, I might as well be reading them for the first time because, again, as we discussed before we started recording, we were like, should we put the dates on here to show how embarrassing we are? And we were like, yeah, we should, because it's funny.
How old these are.
So you can go ahead, start off. I certainly don't remember this from when it was sent.
So the first one we have is from Skylar from Madison, Wisconsin. And this is from April 2024. Love. I don't even remember. That was like 4 months.
I don't remember what happened in April 2024.
I do. Okay. Hey, I'm Skylar from Madison, Wisconsin. A thing that people don't know about Wisconsin is that in my hometown, Stevens Point, we host the largest trivia contest in the world.
Trivia fact.
Right. Ooh, imagine being on Jeopardy and that's the fact.
Or imagine being in Stevens Point and be like, this city holds the largest trivia contest in the world. And everyone's like, I don't know. Is it Berlin? What is it?
It's Costa Rica. Yeah. It's not a city. It's Russia. Okay, so it runs through the university radio station and starts at 6 p.m. Friday night and goes until midnight Sunday night. What? And only has 2 30-minute breaks.
What?
I would die. Simply die. The general format is that they ask a question on the radio or Twitch nowadays. Interesting.
Stevens Point is like more hip than I am. Shit, I'm not even on Twitch.
Well, you better get with it.
Get on
Stevens Point, it's looking like Stevens Point, Wisconsin is about to become the second co-host after I oust you from this position.
Listen. All they have to know is this person used to be a co-host on 500 Open Tabs until they were ceremoniously decapitated for not being enough of a Twitch streamer.
By an entire town.
That's going to be a great trivia point.
By the way, we're giving ourselves license to just take as long as we want on each of these. Yeah. I am, at least. Okay, so they play a song, repeat the question, play a song, then say the answer, and move to the next question. During the songs, you can call into the radio station and give your team number and your answer. And the number of points varies from 500 to 525, depending on how many teams answered the question correctly.
This is already unnecessarily complicated. I've already lost
confused.
this. I feel like you're explaining the rules of magic to me. You see my eyes. I glossed over.
So did I.
I left my body immediately.
Autopilot. Numbers involved? I don't care. No. So, blah, 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 blah. There are about 300 teams. So you can look into it and register. Gonna pass on the registration. Should we?
When is it? Was it April 21st, 2024?
I bet we missed it for 2025.
Whoops.
Well, I'm going to open this in a different tab.
90fmtrivia.org.
Yeah, it's an org, guys. This is serious. One of the most difficult things to do during this contest is to not get curious about the last question and get sidetracked and fall behind.
We immediately fall behind.
Immediately. And I wanted to point out one such question and how I had to quickly close a tab. Hour 12, question 7.
Okay.
Here's the question. An annual athletic competition held in a small English town is sponsored by an undertaker. Oh. It originated after a conversation between rival delivery men. At what public house did they make that bet that inspired this race?
This is a Hannah Hillam question because it's got English town.
You're right.
No comeback.
None.
Just a quiet acknowledgement.
You're completely correct. And I did not even choose this for that. But this reminds me of the bog.
That's what racing. I thought it was leading to towards. That's what I was leading to towards. Yep. That's what I thought it was leading
college
towards.
Educated.
Hi, master's.
College educated.
Not just college. I have a master's. Even more sad.
Wow, I don't. But it turns out a bunch of English towns just make bets in bars and do insane things. So somehow I managed to find out that there's a World Coal Carrying Championship.
Okay, that seems right.
He says, based on this information, and a teammate was able to dig elsewhere and figure out that the answer was the Beehive Inn. It was worth 325 points, by the way. We did a good job. I wish I had the tab that I closed because I thought about the podcast and wanted to just send that exact tab in, and I realized the bigger picture might be even more interesting.
It was.
Skylar.
Bigger picture indeed.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't want to carry coal.
I don't want to do anything with coal, really.
No.
I'm not a huge fan of coal. It seems like
it's ruining our
planet. It's
planet.
ruining the planet. Santa Claus doesn't like it.
No. And you know what? I love him. I don't.
Jury's out. Jury's out for me on Santa Claus.
I don't care either way. You know
about Santa Claus. You're indifferent.
Yeah, I'm indifferent.
The man.
Get out of my house.
Yeah, get out of my chimney. Go away.
What are you doing in my chimney?
I don't know you.
The flue is shut. Why did you come in? Anyway, your turn.
Hannah Hillam, anti-Santa Claus. You heard it here first. Children of Hannah Hillam. This is how they find out.
They find out that I have been.
This is when they walk into the room while you're recording one episode and they're like, no, this will be the event that traumatizes them into their adulthood.
This is the thing I do that traumatizes them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I figure out if that's all they did, if that's the only way you scathe them, that's pretty good. They'll grow up to be fairly normal. Anyway, moving
too late
on.
for that.
Yeah,
true. Go on.
Our email is from Casey.
It's Casey from the Discord, I think.
It's Casey from the Discord. It says, Dear Kava and Hannah, hello. I once read from Lemony Snicket that the second you say thank you, a letter is over. So the thank yous are at the end. On episode 13, Gruy Le Prince, Hannah discusses the origin of color terms. Wow, this one is from quite a while ago, isn't it? What episode was episode 13? That would have been what, like May of last year?
April or May, yeah.
Probably around the same time the last
one. When we used to name episodes.
I miss those days.
Gruy Le Prince was a good one.
It was so much more fun to name the episodes fun things rather than having to name them based on search queries. I hate the modern life of world and everything that we live in. Anyway,
the modern life of world is bad.
I'm a professional reader, okay?
You are excellent at it.
Anyway, it discussed the origin of color terms, which I loved immensely and learned something new. I had previously known about the linguistic development of colors. I researched around on colors for a virtual pub quiz I go to and occasionally host. Lots of tabs involved. Was it in, what's the town? Stevens Point, Wisconsin? The world may never know.
All of these are about Stevens Point, Wisconsin.
This is actually where we're recording live from Stevens Point, Wisconsin.
Yep.
But the depth you went to about how cultures describe how they view the world when they have fewer color terms was wonderful.
Thank you.
Good job, Hannah. Towards the end of the episode, though, you said that the Gruy problem happens with other colors too, like orange and pink. And while orange is named after the fruit, we don't know where the word pink comes from. Presumably, this is from the same people who thought cultures with only 3 colors were colorblind.
Oh, yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
All the Western ones were like, they must not see color.
Yeah. You Western people, you love that. The Phoenix Wright in my brain immediately stood up and went, objection! because I was fairly certain I did know where the word pink came from. However, in order to verify, I opened many, many, many tabs, so I thought I would take you on my journey.
Awesome.
To set the scene, before the tab journey I went on this morning, I had previously seen a video by dress historian Nicole Rudolph discussing the history of assigning colors to gender, pink for girls, blue for boys, or was it the opposite before the war, etc. In it, she mentions that pink was previously just determined. I'm just bothering you now. Was previously just determined. I've never had to read anything this long on the show before.
Oscar-winning extra is reading a monologue right now. Gabadarian.
Pink was previously just a term for how people would cut the edges of fabric. Well, that's weird. But it was later given to a flower of the Dianthus genus, Dianthus plumeris, which are commonly called pinks. Which are called common pinks because of the zigzag edge on the flower. Oh, Hannah. Oh, yeah, I knew that. You totally knew that. Did you really know that?
Yes, I knew that Dianthus was sometimes called a common pink because
I'm Hannah.
I knew here's
that
why.
Dianthus plumeris was commonly called pinks.
Here's some lore. I used to work at a floral shop every Valentine's Day and Mother's Day.
Really? Because you loved Valentine's Day and Mother's Day so much.
No, because
your two favorite holidays.
I know. It was awful, and I did it because my two best friends are florists, and they're like, "Can you help us?" And let me tell you, it did not help my hatred for those two holidays at all.
Yeah, I spent some childhood times in a florist, because my aunts owned a floral shop together.
Really?
Yes.
Dude, I love floral shops. They smell good.
They do smell very nice. We were bored as shit though, as Arya and I would just run around. Thankfully, next door was a card shop where you could they sold like baseball cards and like comic cards and stuff. So we would hang out there all the time. And then I
would just play with. I would get busy playing with that floral foam that you put water on, and you can just flatten it. Yeah.
Oh my god, we're already ADHDing in our own listener email. The flowers are a bright pink color, so eventually the color became associated with the name, and that's why we have the color term for pink in English, which is interesting. I've linked to the wiki page for common pinks there, but I sat down at work after listening to the podcast on my way in, and after helping a patron, immediately Googled pinks flowers, which gave me the name Dianthus, which led me to open a new tab to Wikipedia, which then took me to pinking shears, and finally back to common pinks. Interestingly,
Wikipedia loop like a roundabout thing.
The page for common pink says the origin of the term pink is unknown, but pinking shears says the verb pink dates back to 1300, meaning pierce, stab, make holes in. Really? And friends, you better believe I clicked the link that led me to Wiktionary. Under etymology 4, they describe that to pink is to make holes or pierce something, referencing the decoration of cloth, piercing with a sword, and wounding something with harsh criticism. It also says probably ultimately imitative, or from Dutch pingelen, to do fine needlework, or Low German, compare Low German pinken, hit peck, and pinke, big needle. Naturally, I open all these links in new tabs. I'll summarize from here. What I can tell, the word comes from an ultimate-ish origin of pingel, which was West Frisian in origin. What's West Frisian? What's West Frisian?
West Frisian is Belgium, I'm pretty sure.
Belgium, okay. It's used originally to describe the ringing of a bell. And Wiktionary notes it might have been out of annoyance, like when someone when someone rings a bell and it's pleasant, but give a child a container full of bells and listen to them shake it for half an hour without stopping. That's pingle. Later, it also becomes a term associated with money as metal coin. This is the most unhinged listener email. I kind of love it.
It also is like exactly what happens in my head whenever I go on like a tabbit hole or whatever.
I love this. As metal coins knocking each other and has the same kind of sound, over time, there seems to be a linguistic shift from the g of the G to a k of the K, and becomes more like pink or pinke, which pinke. I don't know if that's pronounced correctly. Still in association with money. Here's where Wiktionary fails me, and I have to open more tabs in the future. I cannot yet find how we transition from pingle, pingolin. Sounds like pangolin now. Being associated with pangolins aren't pink, unfortunately. A pink pangolin.
No.
With money to stabbing. Being associated with money to stabbing, either with swords, needles, or wits, and thus transitioning to scalloping edges. I am at work, like I said. Otherwise, I would be Alice after the rabbit, I promise you. Basically, there is an etymology for the word pink, and it goes something like... This is amazing.
I like that you're reading this one.
Just failing at every single line. This is why all those people on Audible hated me. Pingolin, which is ringing. goes to Pin. Maybe it's Pinge? Pingy? Pinge?
Pinge, Ping, I don't know.
Pinge, Pinge, Pinche, Pinche, Pinge. Which means money. Then question mark. That's like how you make money. It's like the, what is the term?
I don't know.
The South Park one is like make profit. I'm too in the weeds of pink right now. I can't even focus. Pink stabbing, which goes to Pinge, needwork. I believe it's needlework, not needwork. I need work, but not needlework.
Yeah,
slash pink scalloped edges dash pink the flower slash pink the color. That was all. Woo! That looked like an itinerary of all the places that you were flying to. We're almost done. There was also something here I didn't have time to delve into about ping slash pink being related to the English pinch, which sort of makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, when I can look into this more, I'll try to fill in the question mark gap here. And now, finally, for the thank yous. People often ask how I know such random things, and it's through things like 500 open tabs at any given point. I'm ruining this. I'm going to start this over.
Try it again. Yeah.
People often ask how I know such random things, and it's through things like having 500 open tabs at any given point and chasing rabbits as you, my kindred spirits, do. The podcast is fantastic. The two of you have such a great dynamic and explore such a breadth of topics. As an aside, Kaveh, you had me weeping with laughter during racist alien time capsules with your loving description of Iran and Iranian culture, such as sugar cubes in the cheek and kebab naps. Thanks so much for the wonderful podcast. Best wishes, Casey. Tab count in the writing of this email, 11. Woo! We made it through.
Woo, you did. See, that's why we're doing this episode, because that was amazing. Full of things I love, but no way could that have been on a regular episode. Thank you, Casey.
That was incredible.
I would love to find out where that question mark is. It all makes sense. Pink.
Barbie
pink. I'm gonna pink you. Wait, what does that mean? Like cut you scallops?
It means all kinds of things.
You like how I didn't even retain any of it?
It was money, ringing. Sorry, it goes ringing, money, stabbing, needlework, scalloped edges, the flower, then the color.
It sounds like a crossword hint.
It sounds like a CrossFit hint.
Nope.
There's no joke there. I just said the word cross that came to my mind. Dutifully moved along, just being like, let that hang like a fart in the wind.
Cool. We're going. Okay, this is from Amelia from Adelaide, Australia. Amelia from Adelaide, Australia. And this is from last summer.
AAA. July 2024. Be specific. Don't hide.
July 2024. Hello, Kaveh and Hannah. Once again, thank you for your fabulous podcast. As usual, I started strong, but fell behind in my listening. 500 unfinished podcast episodes banked up. So I hope this will not be a duplication for you. I guarantee there's never been a duplication.
No.
Amelia.
It's strange.
Everyone who writes in is insane just like us, and they're all different things.
Yeah.
I will do my best to keep this concise. However, I have never been concise in my life.
Welcome to the club.
Yep. Always the opposite, actually. Sorry in advance. At the center of my many tabs open on this saga is one of Australia's most famous art galleries, the Museum of Old and New Art, Mona, based in Tasmania. Mona is known for being quite radical and innovative. The first part of our story starts in 2020, best year, when Mona opened a quote ladies' lounge. They opened a ladies' lounge installation curated by artist Kirsha Kechelli. The lounge featured male butlers who served visitors champagne, and where some of the museum's finest pieces were displayed, including works by Picasso and Sidney Nolan. Only people who identify as women were permitted to enter the lounge. Wow. Part of the point of the exhibit, according to Kechelli, was to create a safe place for people who identify as women to experience art together, and also to correct a historical imbalance, as there are many spaces historically that people who identify as women were excluded from, and continue to be excluded from to this day. Long sentence, sorry. There's in here, in between each thing, you're like, sorry, I'm still talking.
I'm sorry. Are you mad at me?
No.
No, I'm saying
these spaces include pubs.
Pubs.
Apparently women couldn't drink in pubs until 1965.
What?
That's insane.
That's very late.
And instead had to go to the ladies' lounge area of the pub, and high-profile elite men's-only clubs, many which operate in Australia. Cut to 2023, when Jason Lau, a man, visits Mona. Unable to enter the lounge due to his gender, he reacts by filing a formal anti-discrimination complaint with the Tasmanian Civil and Administrative Tribunal, TASCAT. in 2024, April 2024, when everyone's been writing these emails.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we're replacing it. In April 2024, Tasket found in favor of Lau, saying it was discriminatory for men not to be allowed to the lounge to experience the artwork. Cacelli's response was to say, this is the point of the installation. This is her art. This is the art. Her quote, the men are experiencing the ladies' lounge. Their experience of rejection is the artwork.
Oh.
They experience the artwork differently than women, but men are certainly experiencing the artwork as it's intended. Total queen shit. I love her. Due to the decision in April favoring Lau, Mona is forced to open the lounge to men. Instead, they close it. In June, the Picassos were moved to a different viewing space, the newly created women's bathrooms. Oh. Previously, there was only unisex toilets on offer at Mona, and hung in the actual toilet stalls, using a loophole in the legislation to ensure the pieces are remain accessible only to people who identify as women. So you're sitting in there, look at a Picasso.
The runniest dump ever. With a piece made by famed feminist Pablo Picasso, lover of women's rights.
Champion of women. Historically on the right side of history. On to today. Literally today. So last July. Not literally today.
A year ago, basically.
Yeah. Cacelli has announced that the 3 Picassos that have been on display in the ladies' lounge and are now in the ladies' toilets are fakes that she painted herself for the purpose of the lounge.
This lady does not mess around. She's just...
No. She explained that multiple pieces in the lounge are also fakes, created to tell absurd stories and for the purpose of giving the lounge opulence and to give men the feeling of FOMO, to make men feel as excluded as possible.
Gotta admire the haterade here.
Oh, regarding the fakes, Cacelli says she was waiting for the day she'd be caught. In fact, she was sure she'd be caught pretty much immediately after the lounge opened 3 years ago, but it never happened. She only came forward now as a journalist, and Picasso administration in France had begun to ask questions. I think I'll leave it there with a few of the tabs I read below. I've tried to put them in chronological order. Oh, dude. Amelia, no need. Please forgive my spelling and grammatical errors. I'm sure there are many above. Thanks again so very much. The podcast is such a treat, and you two are friend goals in general.
Oh, that's very
so
sweet.
Excited for all the tabs to come, Amelia. We're not friends.
We're actually nemesis. That's amazing. I like that it just went for years and no one noticed, because the people that were angry about it were probably more angry about the actual discrimination and didn't actually understand like what any of the art was, and didn't bother to learn about it.
It's the whole commentary on, like, you know, you go to museums and you see people just like taking photos of the Mona Lisa and walking over to the next one. You know, it's just kind of that like, okay,
or
check
themselves.
it off the list.
The worst,
or themselves.
Themselves in front of the art piece is the thing that just makes me like lose even more hair off the top of my head. Where I'm like, it's not about you experiencing the piece. Go take a picture of the piece if you must.
Camera. That's why there's cameras. The only reason you should ever take a picture of you in front of a painting is if you look exactly like the person in the painting. Have you seen those?
No.
It's people who are like, looking like they look exactly like the paintings, like of famous paintings.
Yeah, anyway. I look like the Scream. That's cool.
Yeah. Yep.
What painting would you put in a toilet to stop men from seeing?
Oh, Georgia O'Keeffe.
Georgia, sure, okay.
I don't know.
That's a good answer.
I don't know. I don't know. Don't ask me that. I have no idea. Anything. Da Vinci. I don't know.
I don't think men would be upset that they don't get to see Georgia O'Keeffe paintings. I'm saying what would bother them the most.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking about vaginas.
But that's also, that seems like a place where they would be.
Angry.
Yeah, the whole point is that you're basically blocking them out so they can't go see
the character design from Transformers TV show, stuff like that. Or original like
a painting that's like from the Iliad. Or some sort of Greco-Roman something or other.
There's going to be some Greco-Roman things in there.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's basically it. That's the extent of what men in the manosphere are interested in. Anything that's Greco-Roman.
Yeah, no. Did you ever see that picture of that beautiful sculpture of that woman? And this guy was like, only a man could have created this. This is what men should strive for. And went on and on about like beautiful. We got to get back to that. It turns out the sculptor was like this tiny lesbian Chinese woman.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was an Asian lady, right? Yeah, I do remember that.
She was just like sitting there like, yeah, I made this. I don't know.
Here's the thing. if you have those thoughts, sometimes, like, listen, I have stupid thoughts all the time. I don't have thoughts that are that stupid, admittedly. No. But here's what social media did is like before we didn't know that you thought that. And now everyone knows. So just don't do it. Just wait.
Those are your thoughts.
Those are your thoughts. Just hold on to them. That's the problem, is that our thoughts now have to be on social media and we have to declare them. And it's like, no, dude, we all have dumb thoughts. Just think it, give it a second, don't post it, find out who that is. And then you can be like, wow, I just avoided looking like an ass in front of the entire world where I've now become a punchline.
For years. That was years ago.
Yeah, and now we're talking about it, and that's and Mark Zuckerberg made more money, so congratulations.
Great.
And Elon Musk, all of them. I hate everyone.
Great.
Anyway.
Cool. Thank you.
Nick from South Dakota.
Let's keep going. Oh, hi, Nick. I know Nick. Nick is
he's from South Dakota.
Only person I know. Oh, there's several in our Discord, but Nick was on my early live streams from the pandemic.
On Twitch?
And so on Twitch.
Look at you. Like, what was it? What was the town? I forgot the town already.
Stevens Point, Wisconsin.
Stevens Point. Look at you. You remember it.
Stevens Point, Wisconsin.
Old Stevie Pointy from Wisconsin. Probably best friends from Nick from South Dakota. Nick from South Dakota from September 2024. Hi, Hannah and Kaveh. I'm still enjoying all of the episodes, and your recent one on the Guano Islands Act reminded me of an old bookmark I had saved. Turns out I had 2 bookmarks, plus Wikipedia, on the 1863 Egg War, a conflict between rival egg companies for access to some bird poop-covered islands off the coast of San Francisco. Oh, how did I not know about this?
Okay.
Oh, man, I wish I had saved this one. Because of the population boom. No, it's it. We're too late. We're doing it. We're committing to it. Because of the population boom from the California gold rush in the 1850s, there wasn't enough meat and eggs to feed all the people. And San Francisco, flooded with hungry gold miners, chicken eggs were scarce and expensive, leading some to say the city's constant cry was for eggs. By the way, also, what's his name? Our boy, Charles Dilshaw was probably around there at this time.
Oh, yeah, you're
Not
right.
getting
I bet he was like, where are the eggs?
Where are the eggs? I will create a flying contraption to fly to these shit islands to get more eggs. But in an 1850s German accent. Yeah. Entrepreneurs, always on the lookout for the next get-rich-quick scheme, turn their attention to a rather unconventional source, the Farallon Islands, which Jimmy Fallon is from, I imagine.
He's the only one from there.
He had to change his name once they came in through Angel Island, so it was from Farallon to Fallon.
It's just arguably way worse.
Yeah. Located about 26 miles off the coast of San Francisco, the Farallon Islands were far from hospitable, described as, quote, a piece of the moon that fell into the sea. These islands were treacherous for humans, populated by sharks, sea lions, and the largest seabird nesting colony in the continental United States, making it a prime location for a good old-fashioned egg war.
I keep picturing it like a water balloon fight.
There's a water,
but I know it's not that.
The Fallons. Are you Jimmy Fallon of the Farallon Fallons? Yes, we built our empire on island water balloons that we used. That's how we built our fortune.
Eggs. Yes, would you like an egg in
turn of the century? Time? Yeah, can I try to interest you in an egg at this trying time?
Interest you in an egg at this trying time. Amazing. Okay.
What began as a desperate measure to feed a booming population quickly transformed into a cutthroat industry.
Ooh.
The easily gathered eggs were highly sought after. This led to the formation of companies like the Pacific Egg Company. That sounds made up. I mean, technically everything's made up, but that sounds like Pac Bell was like, here, we got an offshoot called the Pacific Egg Company.
Pac Egg.
Yeah, Pac Egg. Formed by 6 men who, as is the tradition of white men everywhere, claimed ownership over the islands. That's true.
Yeah.
Their aim was to monopolize the egg trade with violence if necessary. Again, as is the case.
Yeah.
The common murre, a penguin-like bird, murre, M-U-R-R-E.
M-U-R-R-E. Murre? I would say murre.
The rural ja had a murre. Ja. A penguin-like bird. I swear, we're less annoying on normal episodes. I feel like we're extra annoying this time. Okay, yeah, it's true. We're equally annoying. A penguin-like bird laid large edible eggs that became the hottest commodity on the market. These eggs, double the size of chicken eggs, were a peculiar sight when fried. The whites were actually clear gelatinous even after cooking, and the yolks were bright reddish orange.
Ew.
They also tended to be horrible tasting if the egg wasn't fresh, with one quote, An overripe Muir egg is something never to be forgotten. It requires about 3 months to get the taste out of the mouth. I don't know why it's a British person saying it, but it is.
You know, why not?
It's probably closer to like, bro.
Oh, dude,
overripe Muir egg is hella disgusting, and takes like 3 months, bro. Awesome.
Get out of my mouth.
To get out of my mouth, dude, bro. Let's get on Bart
California.
and go home. The work of collecting the eggs was dangerous and difficult.
I love, man, you are really doing good, by the way.
Doing hella good. So
You're doing
keep
well
on
good.
dancing. The work of collecting the eggs was dangerous and difficult. Imagine, if you will, scaling steep, guano-covered cliffs, constantly harassed by dive-bombing seagulls. Despite these risks, these rough-necked guys collected a vast quantity of Muir eggs, contributing to the booming egg trade in San Francisco. It was like the tech boom, but with eggs. The egg boom. All these egg entrepreneurs.
Egg what?
The entrepreneurs, but with egg. Entrepreneurs.
Mark Zucker egg.
Mark Eggerberg's Zucker egg. I don't know.
No, I think it's gonna be Egg Zuckerberg.
Way to plant egg.
Way to plant egg.
It's about as plain as the nose on Mark Zuckerberg's face. Yes. Elon Musk.
Eglon Musk. Wait,
that's another joke now where it's like, oh, Elon Musk can't hurt you. He's not real. And then it cuts to a picture of Elon Musk, which is just a bald egg. That's it. That's all. It's 2 dots with a receding hairline in a Tesla on fire. Eglon, I hope you like your eggs fried. Elon Musk frying in a Cybertruck. Drives off a cliff. Yeah.
And survives.
Yeah.
Uncracked. Drives off a cliff. Look.
Eglon. Okay. Egg collectors employed brutal methods to ensure the freshness of their product. When the egg pickers went in for the first time, they would smash every egg. Why?
Read.
That way. I'm reacting before I move on. I'm like my mom watching a movie with me. Well, what is happening? Who is this person?
Like, Mom, I haven't seen it either.
I don't know. I have also not read this. That way, they could be assured that the next day when they return, every egg gathered would be fresh. Okay, I see. If you got to make an omelet, you got to break a couple of eggs.
Yeah, I just picture these like gold rush dudes just smashing giant eggs. That's the thing. These are big.
These prospectors too. They're just like, hey, Ma, I'm going out to the Guano Islands and trying to get me as many Eglon eggs as I can.
Elon egg. No, wait,
Guano omelet. That sounds quite delicious.
Guaneg Island.
Oh my God, I could just feel myself wanting to get punched by everyone listening.
That was really funny.
Thank you.
I laughed.
Good.
Because you know what? You're right. This is way more annoying. We're way more annoying.
We're super annoying. If you're listening to, if this is the first episode you've ever listened to,
don't.
Just leave. Turn it off now. Ignoring the claims of the Pacific Egg Company, numerous rival egger companies, rival companies, and individuals sought to reach the islands to make their living covered in guano and smashed up eggs. Eglon need to get there first. What a stupid idiot. Eglon.
Inventor of the test
He really
flag.
is the stupidest head I've ever seen.
So dumb. Doesn't make any sense. It's
he
like
might as well be Eglon. This would lead to frequent collaborations and occasional skirmishes between the better equipped Pacific Egg Company and their rival interlopers. What would their rival interlopers be named, do you think?
I don't know. Neg.
So we got PG&E, the Pacific Gas and Egg.
I hate them. Their bills are way too high.
Spectreg? I don't know. Spectrum. I'm trying to think of other. I can't think of any other companies. AT&T. AT&T. Yeah. Which sounds like you're blowing up eggs. Egg TNT.
Look, you gotta blow up those gold mines somehow.
Gotta blow up a couple eggs to make a shit omelet? I don't know.
As my grandma always said, you always gotta blow up some eggs to make a shit
with TNT.
Why do I become this way around you?
We're the worst.
I agree and disagree.
Yeah, as the egg rush reached its peak, competition for the white gold intensified, despite them saying earlier that it was transparent and not white, leading to the infamous egg war. The Pacific Egg Company found themselves constantly defending their territory from rival eggers. Can you imagine Robert Eggers reading this tab? He would probably just be offended.
Yes,
Maybe that's where his family comes from. But he's from the East Coast, I think. Isn't he from like Maine or something?
Hey, if you go east, you'll eventually get to the islands.
That's true, far enough. Robert Eggers, of course, the guy who did Nosferatu and all those movies, remember?
Right. Yeah, I knew that.
I am going out into the islands on the other side of San Francisco to get transparent eggs.
I like how
Vampire Dong
reading a bunch of long listener mail has just given you free range to just do impression after impression. It's like you're trying to keep yourself from being bored.
It's true. Although this is really fascinating. The Pacific PG&E, Pacific Gas and Egg found themselves constantly defending their territory from rival Robert Eggers. These conflicts weren't your typical Easter egg hunts. They eventually escalated to include armed gangs, boat hijackings, and even small cannons. An egg cannon? Eglon, just getting crazy.
Eglon and his egg launcher.
Eglon putting... But not diamonds. What's his family known for? Space egg.
Not Bex. SpaceX.
Space egg. One particular bold individual, David Batchelder, led a group of Italian fishermen in a series of attempts to seize the islands. In a scene reminiscent of a pirate movie, Batchelder and his men, drunk and dreaming of egg cylindriches, yes,
Nick,
engaged in a full-blown battle with the Pacific Egg Company in 1863.
We should have saved this.
I should have saved this one. Oh my God.
We always can. You know that,
good.
Right?
Okay, I don't know. We'll see.
We are insane, though. So.
The guys at the egg company yelled out to them, "Land at your peril." Batchelor replied, "I'll land. I'll go through hell." The result, one dead employee, several wounded fishermen, and Batchelder convicted of murder, but released on appeal on a technicality. The battle... The battle led to the government finally stepping in, and they granted official egging rights to the Pacific Egg Company.
Okay, we might need to turn this into a tab. This is too good.
This is the stupidest thing ever. I love it so much.
It's got you written all over it.
It really does. The Pacific Egg Company eventually met their match, not in rival eggers, but in the humble chicken farmer. As chicken farming took off in the area, the demand for Muir eggs plummeted. The once valuable eggs, a symbol of entrepreneurial spirit and the desperate need for an omelet, were reduced to mere 5 cents per dozen.
Wow.
Faced with competition from chickens and plummeting Muir population from over... I can just imagine the chickens coming in and messing all the eggs up and then tossing a bunch of dollar bills after the mob, after they beat you up and break your camera and shit. Just be like, eh.
Yep.
Faced with competition from chickens.
You talents just keep emerging.
I don't know if I'd call them talents. The Pacific Egg Company sold the rights to the island's resources to the U.S. government in the late 1870s, and the feds banned egging on the islands shortly after. No more egging for you.
The feds were so bored. There was nothing happening in the U.S. in the 1870s. They had to ban eggs on an island.
Can you imagine being the lawyer that had to write the anti-egging legislation?
I'd be like, oh, come on.
Excellent. Keep up the good work, Nick, a.k.a. Call Me Shake from South Dakota.
Yeah.
P.S. Oops, that looks kind of long now that I've written it. Feel free to edit as needed. I should have read that first, but no, that was hilarious. I can't believe I didn't know that one earlier, and I regret not saving that one to being a proper tab. But that was amazing. It was
incredible. Incredible. That was
incredible.
I'm going to say right now, I've needed this.
You've needed eggs.
I've needed to be insane.
You've needed to be
insane. Egg?
Egg wars. Pacific Gas and Egg.
Egg me.
Egg me. Egg me.
Egg me into
demure.
The bog.
Did they say it's demure, from a mure, the penguin-like animal?
No.
That's
what we call them. Demure penguins.
Hey, boy! Look at these eggs I got off the coast of San Francisco.
Well.
If it isn't old prospected Egg Sullivan. I don't know.
Anger Sullivan?
Egg Sullivan.
Oh. It's like, what kind of name is Anger? You're
Anger
losing
Sullivan.
it. Okay. This is okay. I need a minute. Ooh, you just took me on a trip. Okay.
Ole, ole.
This is from Ole from Rotterdam, Netherlands.
Rotterdam.
Rot or damn?
Which one? Make a decision. Rot or damn?
Damn.
Which one's it going to be? Okay,
Damn.
good.
What about you?
Rot.
Oh,
To spite you.
If you do everything to spite people, who are you?
I'm just a giant egg. I'm just a mere egg. I'm a demure egg. Eglon Musk. I'm just
Sober,
screaming
by the
names
way.
now. That's it. Yes, fully sober.
Fully, both of us. Okay. Hello, Hannah and Kaveh. I recently discovered your podcast, and I have been listening to the episodes backwards through time since then.
On a time machine.
This way it is very interesting to come across the origins of certain inside jokes every now and then.
That's kind of a fun way to do it. I kind of like that.
Me too. Can't wait to know when the bog thing becomes clear.
That's really fun.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot. Can you mention Secundus Nixon?
I have
How
no
would you
idea.
even
What's our first
guess?
inside joke that we still do? I don't think it's like Billy Bob shows up every
Keep it
once in a
Josie.
while. Keep it, but we don't like thread that in necessarily to
Billy
the
Bob,
episodes.
yeah.
Billy Bob, it's a lot of our jokes are sort of like they've been retired unofficially.
Yeah, because we don't remember them.
That's true because there's too many new ones and then we've just moved
It
on.
replaced, it's like a goldfish. It's like new thing to
That's
remember, and the other one just goes.
I mean, I guess Nixon's still sort of been around as a character, like as
Nixon has never left.
Yeah,
and
it's
Taco
true.
Bell.
Taco Bell. Even I feel like we haven't talked about Taco Bell in a long time. Even
I had it yesterday. And it was really good.
good.
It was really good.
Good.
Thank you. Okay.
Continue, Eglon.
Okay. Eglon Musk.
Keep it, Eglon.
No.
Keep it,
Crack
Eglon, and
Eglon.
crack. Yeah, crack Eglon.
Crack Eglon Musk. You know, I didn't predict the word Eglon coming out of this episode, but I'm glad it did.
Just every time I see a stupid face now, it's just all I'm gonna think is Eglon.
I do think his face looks like an egg that someone punched.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
A
Or
mirror
I
egg.
always thought it was like a milk carton that got punched. That's what he looks like to me. like a gallon of milk that just got punched, and so it's dented in.
What
Anyway,
are those
Eglon
things
Musk.
called that the eggs are in? The egg cartons. He just looks like an egg carton to me.
He does. Let's
With-
recycle
with-
him.
With transplant hair.
That's not. It's only.
Imagine, if you will,
I
an
remember.
egg carton with transplant hair.
Imagine an egg, like a hard-boiled egg with hair coming out of it, if you will. Imagine it in your mouth.
Ew.
Imagine it in your mouth. Okay.
All right, Eglon, keep going.
I don't know where I am. So
Basically, at the beginning, all we read was the first two lines.
can't. Okay. Anyways, I love your podcast and hope you're in for many, many more episodes. Spoiler alert: we were when you sent this.
Wait, when was this one from?
I didn't write it down, but I'm
Oh.
pretty sure it was from last summer.
Okay.
Because he talks about Helga Meyer in a minute. The kind of knowledge you are distributing is just gold for me. Helga Meyer is my new hero. I
Yeah.
told so many people about him.
Helga.
Anyways, I hope you haven't heard of my tab yet. It's a bit difficult to judge how widely known things are like this are when you are in, quote unquote, in the field. The field being anthropology and paleontology.
All right.
So cool. In this case, where I first heard about this is in a lecture at university about 18 years ago. I recently talked to my wife about the case. That's why the tab came open again. She's an archaeologist. I used to work on ancient human DNA.
This sounds like the best couple. I want to have
Ever.
dinner with you guys.
Yep.
I want to split a bottle of
Yep.
wine and tell me all the crazy shit you two know.
Tell me everything.
Yes.
Everything. If we're ever in the Netherlands, we're
Yes.
like hitting Ola up.
We are
We're like,
hanging up with
"Hey,
Ola. Yeah. This
Ola,
is
Ola,
amazing.
Can you tell us all about human DNA? Dude,
Yes.
imagine.
And archaeology.
Oh, that's like if I had like a brain for it, I would have loved to be an archaeologist.
Yeah, it would
But
have been fun.
as we all know, I forget things the second I say them. So
That's true.
here is the story in short. In 1912, the British amateur archaeologist Charles Dawson claimed that he had found a human-like skull in Pleistocene gravel beds near Piltdown, East Sussex.
And this became the basis for Dawson's Creek later, about 70 years.
Famously, just a bunch of skeletons.
Sussex.
Just, yeah.
Straight from the streets of Sussex.
I've never seen.
That's a
What you
Simpsons
just
joke
said.
where
No,
he's
no,
trying
I know.
to remember.
I'm behind still. I'm still thinking about the Dawson's Creek
Oh, about
joke.
Dawson's Creek.
Yes.
Katie Holmes, Dawson.
Classic.
What's
Movie.
Dawson? James Van Der
Show.
Beek. Sorry,
Yeah, I knew that. Okay.
everybody was in that show. They were all near the gravel beds near
The
Pintle
gravel
Town.
beds near
Piltdown, East Sussex. That's where they're from.
Beautiful setting for a sitcom.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Did you watch? Okay, I have to move on.
I didn't watch it, but I remember it.
You remember it?
I member berries it. He contacted.
I was going to say member berries.
Yeah.
He contacted Arthur Smith Woodward, keeper of geology at the Natural History Museum and a driving force of the story.
Again, that also sounds like I am Arthur Smith Woodward, keeper of geology here at the Natural History Museum.
You have to like defeat him to get past.
Exactly. Solve his riddle.
Eglon Musk is good. Versus
wasn't Eglon Musk a character on Dawson's Creek?
Yeah, I'm not adding. The skull was I like how I was like, let's just do a fun extra a little
This
episode.
is great. This is like a live stream. We're just being insane.
Table energy.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, the skull was reconstructed and hypothesized that they belonged to a human ancestor from 500,000 years ago.
Whoa.
There were doubts about this find, almost from the beginning, especially coming from the rest of Europe and American scientists. But anyways, they were sure they had not only found an earlier human, but they had also found the missing link between ape and human. It was known at this point that there were different other versions of humans. The Heidelberg men and the Neanderthal people had been discovered and described at this point. So this was big because it would put the origin of mankind into England.
Gross. I hate this tab.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
tab.
Don't cheer for this guy. You're like, oh, boo. No, this guy's bad.
Ooh, Dawson's Creek.
We're rating Dawson's Creek now. They didn't know anything about Out of Africa / Africa First then. This was bad news for people like Raymond Dart.
Out of Africa. I'm assuming he's not talking about the film.
Nope. He's talking about the theory.
Beautiful film, by the way.
Never seen it.
Meryl Streep. It's a beautiful love story. Redford. I had a farm in Africa. Karen,
Redford?
What's her name? Redford's in it, yeah.
Robert Redford?
It's about, what's her name?
My
Karen...
grandpa's skiing partner?
Your grandpa's skiing partner was Robert Redford? That's amazing.
Sometimes. It was more like they'd go in groups, but...
This is relevant to us, but I always say you and I need to, at some point, watch Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah.
Speaking of Redford, because that entire movie is about two dudes who just annoy the piss out of everybody so much that they have to leave the country. That's basically the entire premise of the movie. They're
is what would happen
so
if
annoying to
I
everyone
lived in
around
LA,
them. Yeah.
We'd be driven out.
That movie is amazing. It's it's like a classic, obviously, because of like a lot of reasons, but it's so much funnier than people realize. And it's just because all they do is bother everyone to the point where everyone hates them. It's so good.
I really relate to that.
Yeah.
Amazing. So this was bad news for people like Raymond Dart, who published his description of the Tuang child in 1925 and was pretty much ignored for it. The Thong. I don't want to say Thong child. That's what it's spelled. But
Thong? Well, it depends on where I don't know where it's from.
From South Africa.
Is that a South African name, though, is what I'm saying? For some reason.
No, I don't.
It looks Vietnamese
so.
Almost, but I'm sure
that's why I pronounced it with the.
Let's see.
You looking it up?
Let's look it up.
Let's get this right.
Burmese politician, businessman.
Oh.
Burmese author. It might be Burmese. It says, I mean, just at quick glance, it says it's a Burmese name, but that's just my quick, I wouldn't say that officially. I'm just the first page on Google, which as we all know is getting worse now.
AI.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to say Thong. The Thong child was found in South Africa and later turned out to be the first Australopithecus ever found. But first, they didn't like the features of the Thong skull. And second, main reason, they liked a missing link better when it came from England. The hoax was exposed in 1953 due to new methods of testing. Also, other people looked at the bones from close by and discovered traces of grinding on the teeth, so they'd fit the skull, and also paint and dental putty.
Wait, sorry, what?
The hoax. This was a hoax. I don't think he ever got to the fact that it was a hoax. So this was a huge hoax.
Or we fully just stopped paying attention in the middle of it.
Good. That could have been it.
Yeah.
Well, this is called the Piltdown man hoax, which I'd heard of before.
Oh, you've heard this before. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The hoax was exposed in 1953 due to new methods of testing. So they found like paint and dental putty on it. It is not sure who made the skull, but it is clear that it was faked by a professional who knew about anthropology and anatomy. But it was most likely Dawson, since he had at least 38 finds on his account that were clearly fakes.
What?
He had worked with Smith Woodward before this, so it might have been the both of them.
Dicks.
I know. Dicks. Be good. Have a great week. Greetings from Rotterdam, where the Lego ship came from. The Netherlands. From that episode, I think, where the Lego ship.
It was Steven.
That
was the whale diarrhea and fake buildings episode.
When we devastated Steven and me.
Yeah, I devastated both of you. I'm very proud of that story. That was
Viking it was horrific.
I like brought you guys in and then was like, by the way, whale diarrhea circle.
Diarrhea. And we were both like, I just remember Steven being like, I just could see it in his eyes. He was like, I was asked to be on this podcast and now I have to look at whale diarrhea.
He's like, this is why I don't want straight dude friends, because these people are insufferable.
Yeah. Sorry. I say as if I'm a straight.
Yeah, it's like, sorry. You are.
In some ways, yeah. Your turn.
Thank you for that. And that was really fun. Eglon thanks you.
No.
Eglon
I simply just reject what you said.
No, Eglon.
No.
This one is Riley from Maryland. Hi, Kava and Hannah. I am a student at the University of Maryland getting my Master of Architecture, and I've been following the podcast religiously since the end of Musical Splaining. Hey, thanks, Riley, for coming over. While the oldest tab I have open is probably the draft of this email. That cracked me up.
Oh,
that isn't very interesting to write about, and I've been waiting for the perfect subject to share. I finally found it while looking for a theoretical site for my thesis, and I discovered the Forfar field station on the Andros Island in the Bahamas. This is a small camp used to house educational 6-week-long field trips studying the Andros Barrier Reef, hopefully it's Andros, and DROS, and surrounding areas. But the most interesting story is of the builder and initial owner of the compound, Archie Forfar.
What an interesting last name.
He's one of our forefathers. He's the forefather of the Andros Barrier Reef compound.
See, look, you love genealogy too.
I do, yeah, Forfar. No, I'm not related to this person. I wasn't like, oh, it's like my great uncle that lives in, came over here. Are you related to this person?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
That's a first.
Look, it's not my fault.
Archie Forfar was a Canadian architect. ! Sorry, I should read that correctly. Archie Forfar was a Canadian architect who developed a love for deep sea diving. Are there not a lot of architects in Canada?
I don't know.
I'm very confused by this.
Because I think that Riley. Oh no, Riley's from Maryland.
Maryland, I don't know.
Well, I'm glad Riley's excited about Canadian architects.
Maybe I should keep reading and that will answer the question. Who developed a love for deep sea diving? The story goes that he found the spot for the settlement after shipwrecking off the coast with his wife, floating to a disconnected piece of the island, waiting until low tide, and walking to the main island where they eventually rescued and returned to Canada.
Whoa.
Weird. Archie decided he actually loved Andros Island and returned. His wife, however, refused to move there until there was a house, so he built one for her. She eventually followed, but still unhappy, ended up moving back to Canada without him. The marriage fell apart. After, Archie and his dive partner, Ann Gunderson, that name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it does.
Doesn't it? His dive partner, Ann Gunderson, continued to explore the Andros coast, both becoming excellent divers, breaking several records. The story ends in tragedy when Archie, Ann, and a third diver, Jim Lockwood, attempted to break the world record for deepest dive on one tank of air. During this dive at 400 feet, all three lose consciousness, and only Lockwood, who was using safety release, survives.
Oh.
Damn. Although their death seems definitive, there's still a lot of speculation around whether or not they actually died, as their bodies were never found, or perhaps they were and were unretrievable, according to one site. Some members of Archie's family like to believe both he and Anne survived and escaped to a different island. Interesting. Others suspect foul play, telling a version of the story claiming where the day after the incident, their bank accounts were drained and 2 rare conch shell specimens went missing from the safe. I'm personally a little too rational to believe it was more than just a tragic accident, but perhaps if you prefer the mystery, one of the other 2 endings is more your style. I hope you found the story as interesting as I did. Thank you for the weekly entertainment I look forward to every Wednesday. The links are included. Sincerely, Riley. P.S. Ever heard of the Chrome extension Workona? Workona Forever? I've been using it to organize my tabs for the last 3 years and find it helps with the chaos.
Workona Forever? Is that what you did?
Yes.
I missed that. And no, I've never heard of Workona.
I've never heard of Workona Forever.
Yep.
Thank you, Riley.
Riley. That was sad and scary. And I kind of love the idea that it was Lockwood that did it. the third diver that was like
Only diver. I don't have anything
exactly
beyond that.
exactly.
That's what he was thinking. He was Dio. Ronnie James Dio is the one who did it, you guys. He was behind it. That's what that song's
That's it.
about.
Yeah, exactly. We should start a we should start a murder podcast. We should start a true crime podcast where you just blame
everything on the British. On Eglon
we already
Musk.
have one.
It's like cereal, but it's just like, but did Eglon Musk murder?
We just try to place
what was her name?
Eglon Musk
from cereal.
Heyman, yeah.
Heyman, yeah. Eglon Musk did it.
Anyway, should we keep going? What are we at?
We're only at an hour. Yeah, let's keep going.
This is from Elliot from Pullman, Washington. And this is from January 2025.
It's only 6 months old, which is crazy to think it's already been 6 months.
I don't like that. Good afternoon. My name is Elliot. I am writing to you currently from Pullman, Washington. I have been listening to Kaveh since the days of musical explaining.
Thank you.
And that podcast and 500 Open Tabs have been one of my comfort podcasts to listen to. That's really nice.
That's really sweet.
So, this person loves to listen to you get angry about things.
That's true. Apparently,
talk about
nonsense. What were we talking about the other day? We were texting with
Alyssa
where you were like, "Oh, I'd watch a show of Kaveh being angry." What was it that you were saying?
Oh, it was funny.
You guys pitched another show where I was like, "What is it about me that people keep wanting to do like a show where I get mad about something that you're explaining to me and it gets irritating?" Because
the way you get mad is very like you're good at
being
delivery.
Mad.
You're good at delivery when you're angry. A lot of people are just like, and go by themselves, but you like fully just have it out. And this is why, here's why I'm mad, and this is why in detail.
Oh, I'm articulate about my anger.
Thank you. I couldn't remember the word articulate. Okay. I have mostly been a lurker and quietly listened through this time. But since Hannah began talking about fictional islands, I couldn't help but think about this other fictional one that is important to the world of geography today. It's been a treat to have listened to those, mainly because of how it relates to my IRL job, which is in relation to geography. The blue part is the water. Wait, what is it? A Buster says.
You mean Buster? The guy who didn't realize that the blue part, the guy who thought that the blue part on a map was land?
Was land? That's right. Whenever someone says they do like maps and geography, I'm like, haven't we already charted everything? And then it makes me think of that. And that's not what geography is. So you may wonder, what is Null Island? Well, it's an island located precisely at the coordinates of 0 degrees north and 0 degrees east, the place where the equator meets the prime meridian in the South Atlantic Ocean. It was created, the belly button of Earth, full of lint. It was created to help us geographic analysis. It was created to help us geographic analysis in identifying errors whenever we search addresses. When we search for an address, we compare it to a database of streets, house numbers, etc. And when we get a match, it returns its corresponding coordinate. This is called geocoding. As you may know, the data is hardly perfect, and sometimes things that should match don't. Stuff like misspellings and other minor edits can throw the geocoder for a loop. And what happens then? Well, instead of returning to a coordinate, it simply returns 0, 0. In other words, 0 degrees north, 0 degrees east, the land known as Null Island.
Okay.
It is a, quote, small tropical purgatory, far away from anywhere that matters, home to uncountable damaged and incomplete data points, stranded until they are fixed or erased. This is but one way that data appears in Null Island.
Oh, no.
I like that idea of...
I'm doing the thing I always do where I'm like, I have to store this
making
first.
A story, yeah.
Yeah, oh no. Why can't I turn it off?
Because, look, it's who you are.
My brain is exhausting. I've stopped listening and I'm like, oh, there's a whole thing for this now.
Yeah, there is. 100%.
Good. This is a good thing, by the way. I'm just like...
No, I know. Oh, I get it.
I'm just like, oh God, Null Island. This is gonna end up in a perma-friend story somewhere for sure.
I'll pop it in there. It is very popular. It is a very popular island to us geography people. Some have dedicated blogs and websites to its fake history, flags, and geography.
Love this.
However, there is one thing that is not fake. There is a small weather observation buoy that records weather and temperature named Soul, after the music genre. Even if the island is technically not real, it does indeed have a soul, and I really like that.
That's cute.
Apologies if this email was all over the place. Absolutely not.
It's actually probably one of the more concise ones we've had.
This is a shining beacon of conciseness in this whole episode.
From the island of Seoul.
Korea. This writing is not my strong suit, whatever, but hopefully these links may help in explaining anything I've missed. I hope you guys are doing well, and I eagerly await the next podcast. Many thanks, Elliot. And it has the link to Null Island.
Thank you, Elliot.
But
That was
It's
delightful.
fascinating.
I love that. I'm gonna do some egg diving on that one for sure.
With Elon Musk, you're diving. Hey,
There's-
have you noticed that there's a lot of island? People are writing about islands constantly.
Is this all around the same time, like after I did
No.
the Guano Islands one, or?
I don't know.
That's interesting, though. You're right. Yeah, that's like a
lot of
couple
island. I think we talk about islands a lot too.
Do we? I guess you talked about the Niihau and all that whole thing, and then I talked about Birdshit Islands. That's all I remember.
There's got to be more.
Probably. I don't remember the beginning of this podcast, let alone like any other episode that we talked about islands.
Weirdly enough, I remember the day it came out, January 10th, 2024.
Why do you remember that?
It's my
You're
brother's
like, that's the day
birthday.
that
It's my
everything got
brother's
ruined.
birthday.
All right, moving on.
So-
Liz
Okay,
from
hold on.
South Dakota. Do I get another South Dakota email?
You do. It turns out we ignore a lot of South Dakotan emails, but I was
Apparently.
going to say, let's make this be probably the last one.
Okay. So Liz from South Dakota, also Discord, March 2025.
Hey.
Hi, Hannah and Kaveh. Sorry in advance. This is probably more than a minute, but I think it's worth it. This is Liz from Sodak. Is that what they call it?
So, I think so.
Sodak. And also from Discord. I have a background in microbiology/infectious diseases, and my tab is on, sorry, it's not helicopter. It's Helicobacter. I thought it was
Looks like helicopter.
I thought it was Helicobacter pylori bacteria. That's not. I'm just going to call it helicopter.
We're going to call it that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's Helicobacter pylori. It's H. pylori. Oh, this is H. pylori, right? This is the one where like it gets lodged into people's like intestines or whatever, and then lives forever.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's like
I've
a
heard about
traveler's
this.
thing.
Didn't know the H stood for helicopter. But
Yeah,
you learn
Helicobacter
something new every
pylori.
day.
It breaks out of French prisons left and right. What was her name? Nadine? Does Nadine fly?
Nadine.
That's what you got to name your helicopter is H. pylori.
Flying that helicopter through
Or you just
the
name a
intestines
helicopter pylori so that it's
of
H.
the French
Helicopter
penal system.
pylori. Yeah.
Helicopter
Nadine
pylori.
smoking the cigarette, just being like,
There it is again. This the chapstick cigar.
Helicopter pylori was not well researched until it was first discovered in the stomachs of patients with gastritis and peptic ulcers in 1982. Holy shit, it's really late. By Barry Marshall and Robin Warren of Perth, Australia. Sidebar.
Wait, hold on, pause. You
Yes.
forgot a whole sentence up there.
Guess what?
You put, and my tap is on helicopter pylori.
Helicopter
bacteria
pylori and how it was discovered to cause stomach inflammation, gastritis, and stomach ulcers. And then what I just read again. Sidebar, at the time, science was like bacteria can't live in the stomach. It's too acidic. But from like 1875 to the 1970s, scientists tried culturing bacteria from the stomachs of patients with gastric ulcers with no success.
Oh, interesting.
This bacteria is interesting because it has a coil-like body, like a spring, and a little swimmer tail, flagella, how do you say it?
Flagella, I think.
Flagella, and has evolved to be able to penetrate the lining of the stomach with its coil-like cute body and swimmer tail. Love Helicopter pylori. It is also able to produce an enzyme called urease, which breaks down the urea in the stomach into ammonia and carbon dioxide, creating a less acidic environment, allowing it to survive in what would otherwise be too harsh and acidic of an environment. Glad that I know that visual now.
Yeah, great.
This coil-tailed thing swimming around in a bunch of acid. Yeah.
I picture it as a semen, because I don't know why.
Giant semen. Just picture Elon Musk. It'll be fine. Barry and Robin anyway, back to the story. Barry and Robin accidentally left their petri dishes with the slow-growing Helicopter pylori incubating over the Easter weekend in 1982 and were able to grow some of the bacteria finally to visualize it. They were like, hey, this bacteria that's growing in people's stomachs is probably the cause of the inflammation in stomach ulcers, not being stressed or spicy food like we had assumed before. But obviously, if you come up with a new theory in science or medicine, everyone is skeptical and their papers were not received well by the scientific community. June 12th, 1984. In true hold my beer fashion, to demonstrate that Helicopter pylori was the true culprit of stomach inflammation and ulcers and not just a bystander, Barry Marshall drank a beaker full of the culture to prove to the scientific community that it would make him sick. Dear Lord.
They're all just like, that's just insane.
Bro. Obviously, he got super sick several days later and had an endoscopy done. And sure enough, he had ulcers and inflammation. So they did more studies to figure out what antibiotics were effective in treating gastritis and stomach ulcers. And they got the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2005. That's awesome.
Wow.
So yes, the unhinged behavior of an Australian guy named Barry, who was like, screw you guys, I know I'm right, is the reason we know that stomach ulcers are not caused by spicy foods or stress. Keep it, Josie Liz from, what was it, Sodak.
Sodak. That is, here's the thing, I still hear, like, the people still think it's caused by stress. I'll hear like, oh, I mean, it's gonna give me a stomach ulcer, but they totally disproved that. Crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. That is amazing.
Little helicopters really cool. in our stomachs.
Maybe they're just trying. Okay, here's the thing. Maybe there are some bacteria that are being held prison in our stomachs, and the bacterial equivalent of Nadine is getting into the Helicopter pylori to come in and break out her husband,
her lovers,
because there's also probably bits of Babel cheese wax Baby Bell.
I was about to say.
Someone corrected me this morning. I always thought it was Babel, but I guess it's Baby Bell. Listen, believe women, okay? I can't fix the thing that I've been calling. It's like Jif. I'm not calling it Jif. It's GIF forever. I don't care.
Absolutely.
It's Babel in my mind. Done. Anyway, there's pieces of Babel
Liz
wax.
Who corrected you.
Liz? The same person that wrote? No. I don't know. Listen, whoever it was. Point is, in my mind, it's Babel cheese. I'm not going to fix it. There's pieces of Babel cheese wax in your stomach that tiny little bacteria is using as a way to break out of there. And that's what the Helicopter pylori is.
Beautiful. You brought it full circle.
Helicopter pylori, Agalon. Okay, I think that's probably going to be the last one that we should read. How do we close? I don't know how many, like 6 different email tabs. All I could think of is Helicopter pylori right now because that's the last thing. So that's another helicopter breaking eggs.
Or, how about like someone just smashing eggs on an island?
On an island, we could do that. What was the first one? I don't even remember. I've already forgotten
it. It is a Stevens Point radio thing.
Oh, it was the whatchamacallit one. It was the trivia one.
And then there was the color pink.
Pink. I wish pink was a sound.
I know. Some people it is with that
That's
thing
true.
They have. Then there was the artist who did the ladies' lounge.
Oh, the Picasso paintings. The Picasso imitation Picasso toilet shit sound. We could just do shitting in a toilet while eggs break on the... It sounds like you're pushing out so hard that the eggs are cracking on the floor. I don't know. Egg
like
helicopter.
You're laying the eggs and they're cracking as they come out.
That's the one. Laying helicopter eggs that are filled with H. pylori inside of it. And then a chicken attacks you at the end because it wins.
We're going to hear a chicken birthing cracking eggs with a helicopter. I don't know.
Okay,
Alyssa,
sure. Count us down.
This is up to you. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Do it. Close. I just closed 1 because that's where they all were.
Moving on to listener emails.
We should do an episode backwards someday.
Just start with listener email and then just do your entire tab backwards,
that
one sentence at a time.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Thanks to everybody for writing in. If we didn't get to your longer email, we'll probably be doing more of these depending on how much you all hate listening to this. But if you do like it, let us know by subscribing to the podcast, signing up for the Patreon, joining our Discord and telling us directly, telling your friends. If you're like, hey, friend, do you like 2 super irritating people getting really fixated on some idiotic joke that's not that funny based on emails that people who listen to their show wrote in? Here you go. Listen to these dipshits.
And if you like how insane we've been, more on the Patreon. And here's the thing I've learned about people who listen. The more insane we are, the more they like it.
Really?
I think.
Okay. Sure. Aglon, if you're listening, please
go to
fall off the wall and break like Humpty Dumpty.
And I hope none of the kings.
Nobody puts you back together. Break Eglon.
We should break Eglon. Crack Eglon Musk. I couldn't say his last name.
He doesn't have a last name. He's just Eglon.
Crack Eglon.
Crack Eglon.
Thanks, everybody. I'll see all of you at the Gwen Stefani tribute.
At the Eglon Crack, I don't know, archaeology site. The Cracked Eglon archaeology site. Eglon would be the kind of person who would fake some sort of like a skeleton to be like, actually,
100%.
they're from
England.
They're Dutch. No, he wouldn't do
Dutch,
English. Yeah, he'd be like, they're Dutch.
Yeah, I'll see you everybody at the vigilante attack of Eglon.
We're getting deported. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
That was insane.